What's up, guys? Guru Gang, peeps, Padawans. Welcome to the Inner Sanctum. I'm Yoda Guru, and come on in. For those watching for the very first time, sit, stay, relax, put your feet up, grab a snack or two, get a cool beverage if you want, and enjoy what I'll be sharing with you today as I share my thoughts on the entirety of the episode of the finale of The Mandalorian, season 2, episode 16, actually chapter 16, The Rescue, as I as I'm able to process it now after watching a couple times the episode, and there was a lot to take in, and because of that initial viewing the first time, it just blew my mind that it was hard for me to even try to process. But now that I have a couple days to marinate on it, to think and sit and think, and basically after like I said, watching a couple times, I was able to see with much clearer clarity to process what I was able to see. So, but first off, before we do that, do me a favor, click on the little Yoda icon, hit and subscribe, and also hit like as well if you enjoyed any of my content from any of my past videos, or any future videos that you'll be seeing and hoping to want to see in the near future. All right, with that said, let's get into the Mandalorian season 2 finale. All right, there we go. Oh, also, let me pay my respects as well when it comes to Mr. Jeremy Bulloch, the original OG character, Boba Fett, who was initially introduced in episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, which as a kid I was introduced into that movie, and though technically he was in episode 4, but in a deleted scene. But like I said, I'm gonna pay my respects. I was very fortunate enough to meet the man in PensaCon 2015, and being able to meet him, the man behind Boba Fett, was a great honor. And from what I can tell, he was a kind and gentle soul, and the world, the Star Wars fandom, lost a great icon when it comes to Star Wars characters. A whole list of Star Wars icons that have been sorely missed, with Carrie Fisher and Peter Mayhew and so many others that, like I said, sorely missed. But they are one with the Force now, including now this past, from when I found out on Facebook on the 17th, and they're now with the Force, and they will forever be in our hearts. All right, now the opening scene basically set the entire tone of the episode, with Dr. Pershing being basically chased down by Boba Fett, who, along with Mando and Cara Dune, initially just basically shut that ship down. And in order to get on it, and though menacing as Boba Fett's ship was, Slave One, rising in order for those three individuals to be seen, was awesome. And it just, like I said, set the tone overall, and it went from there to Imperial officer basically was just digging into Cara Dune about how when he was there during that time when her planet was destroyed, and beforehand he shot his co-pilot because he thought he was turning traitor on him, and that was just surprising enough, but funny as well. And then just when going back to Cara Dune, the look on her face when the Imperial pilot was just digging and digging and digging, and my thought was, he's gonna die. The dude is gonna die, because the dude was basically digging his own grave at this point. And next thing you know, shot in the face. And she just straight up left like an OG. And I was just like, wow. When she left and Mando just turned around looking at her, it was straight up funny to me, because the one that should be feared is Manda, because he was basically after his son Grogu. But the one that was initially feared right then and there was uh, was Cara Dune. From there, they went on to land on a planet where it was like a sort of like a space a truck stop of sorts, and to initial enlist the help of Bo-Katan and Casca Reeves. But it wasn't very initially a what you say call a productive meeting between the four minds. There was like a little head button in there with with Boba Fett and Bo-Katan. Words were said. Fights happened to the point where Coscarese initiated a tornado DDT. I know. I guess they want to incorporate a wrestling move in that scene. And me being a wrestling fan, that was awesome for 30 plus years. So awesome was that. Then from there, they formulated a plan along with Cara Dune, going into with Boba Fett chasing the foursome as a bit of subterfuge in order to get into Moff Gideon's ship. And I don't know what, and they just made it in just by the skin of their teeth. And once inside, all hell broke loose. Yeah, it was awesome to see. And I know that when it comes to the four women of the rescue crew, Sasha Banks' character Casca Reeves, Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, Cara Dune, Gina Carano, and Fennec, played by Ming-Na Wen. They, it was, I felt it was naturally, it was a natural flow to their unity, even though there was like a little, there's contention there amongst all four women, strong women, who in a way their power comes within their strength. Whereas I know that there's some controversy or opinions about the women of the Avengers, where it's their strength that comes from their power. Like for instance, the women of the Avengers coming together in that scene near the end of the movie of Marvel's Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and helping assist Brie Larson's character, Captain Marvel. And when it comes to Brie Larson herself, she has gotten under the skin of many fans with her opinions, and controversial opinions, mind you, and it's rubbed them a wrong way. And it's to the point where it that scene itself with all those ladies coming together kind of seemed for some kind of forced in a way, and why how Marvel is trying to trying to put bring to light female empowerment, whereas in the Mandalorian, in the scene of actually, yeah, in most of season 2 and season 1, was the female empowerment was not in your face. It was like they have the strength, like I said, with the women of the Avengers, it's strength in their power. Whereas with the women in the Mandalorian, and it's the power in their strength. And if that makes any sense to you, awesome. Because I was thinking about it after the second and third viewing, and it really a juxtaposition of parallels the Marvel universe and the Star Wars universe. And I know I don't want to start a civil war of sorts between Star Wars fans and Marvel fans, but that's just my own thinking right there. And moving forward, as the ladies did their thing, just mowing down stormtroopers left and right. And I mentioned before in my reaction video, they should have did a kill count of how many stormtroopers the ladies dispatched. And Kara alone was like, the funny part when it came to Kara was Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character, just not just having trouble with her gun, and then just ending up basically beating stormtroopers with her own gun. and then Ming Na Wen with her Matrix moves as she avoided a laser blast from a stormtrooper. Beforehand, the lady is walking on that guardless walkway guardrail without a guardrail. OSHA should be upfront about that, which is a running joke throughout the Star Wars universe, and just dispatching. Actually, those Bo-Katan and Cascarilla just um, jetpacking off the walkway and then rising up and dispatching the stormtrooper, which was an awesome scene. And then the superhero landing onto the walkway itself, and that was awesome. And then we have Mando on doing his parts, doing a little steaky steak of like Snake Plissken or Snake from Metal Gear Solid, which is my favorite game to play, by the way. Well, that's not here nor there. But however, before getting to his son, he would have to encounter. He would be find himself encountering the Dark Troopers. One, mind you, but one was epically brutal, and from our parents. However, before getting to his son, he would have to deal with not stormtroopers. However, before getting to his son, he would have to deal with the Dark Troopers. Now, he didn't have to deal with all of them, just one of them, and one of them was just epically brutal. It was like real steel meeting Star Wars, and it was like a boxing match where it was just a one-sided boxing match, just that Dark Trooper just pounding on Mando's helmet. And thankfully, Beskar helmet takes a beating because uh, because the way it looked, if it were any other helmet, it would have been crushed in, his brain splattered all over. But thankful for Beskar because it stood up to that beating. And not surprisingly, no, I would be surprised if he had a concussion because of that, and some after effects of it possibly. But especially getting hit from the inside, oh man, I don't know how would that felt if I were in it, but it was just imagine just the all out brutality of just being constantly hit in from Mando's point of view, and yeah, and then his the crotch shot, the fire crotch shot, and I was like thinking, do Dark Troopers have crotches? And I was like, maybe, and then but them trying to use fire and then the whistling birds, but it had ended up with the Beskar spear doing the task of just dispatching that Dark Trooper, which was awesome as well. So many awesome things coming out of this episode, which the most awesome thing will come very a little bit later. But on to where he ends up getting to the cell in question where Grogu is. Before that, dealing with the stormtroopers and dispatching because he was on a mission and he was focused on that mission to get his son Grogu, and just dispatching one of the stormtroopers with the Beskar spear, just skewering him like a barbecue, and then choking out the other one to death, and then finding Grogu in the cell, still his handcuffs, tiny handcuffs, with Moff Gideon with light dark saber in hand above Grogu, which deeply unsettled me. And I was like, "Don't you dare touch him with that dark saber." And I think we all were like thinking that in our heads. And then next thing we know, Moff Gideon does something unpredictable, surprisingly unpredictable, and just. But we knew better, and that he was just putting me in a false security. And then they start fighting, and then it was an awesome fight where Mando was holding his own, and Moff Gideon was surprisingly brutal and in his own Moff Gideon way. And because of that, the dark saber ends up in the hands of Mando, and that would be the point of contention with Bo-Katan, because she for the longest she's been her quest, her mission, her sole purpose was to get her hands on the dark saber in order to rule Mandalore. Unfortunately, it's now in the hands of Mando, and so for now, he's technically the ruler of the Mandalorian people for now, and that could be the synopsis or the main theme of season 3, and where it would be like just going to possibly the bringing together the Mandalorian people or going to the Mandalorian planet in order to, with Bo-Katan by his side, to gather the people, their people, and or possibly come to a point where Bo-Katan and Mando fight for the possession of it. Who knows at this point? Because at season 3 may or may not have Grogu in it, from what I've been reading. But I know that Mando did make a promise to Grogu that they'll be seeing each other again. Hopefully not 30 years, and hopefully baby Yoda Grogu is still alive after the massacre that happened at the Jedi Academy because of Kylo Ren or Ben Solo. But in any case, it's good. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in season 3. Now that the storyline is now solely focused on Mando himself, with the storyline of getting Grogu, Baby Yoda, and to a Jedi, the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, has come into play. And speaking of Luke Skywalker, when that happened, I lost my freaking mind, and because I initially thought it was either Ezra or Mace Windu as that X-wing flew into the hangar bay, but what I didn't see at my first initial viewing that night was R2 within that cockpit, because I was too busy in the moment and too focused with my mind being blown that Luke was already in there, was coming. But yeah, I should have seen R2 in there. But anyways, yeah, the hallway scene. Actually, yeah, the hallway scene. But before that, before we get to the hallway scene, his appearance and just walking down the hallway, just the boss that he is, the Jedi Master, and then him just walking and then just basically mowing down the Dark Troopers one by one in brutal fashion, and then it was just beautiful, and I was just awestruck by it. As a Star Wars fan, I became 6 years old again, and I'm 43 now. But to be a kid again, my childhood came back, and to the point, and I almost teared up. And I know many fans and their reaction videos started crying. I started just becoming all emotional. Excuse me. And when he got to that hallway scene, it parallels his father's scene in Rogue One, the hallway scene, just father and son just brutally massacring their adversaries down the hall, and it was a beautiful sight to see. Anakin would have been proud of his boy doing the same thing he did way back when in Rogue One, and the reveal of himself of Luke Skywalker to the people in that control room was very prolific, because when he said, "Are you a Jedi?" I said, "Yeah," and I just said straight up to the screen, said, that is a Jedi. He's the Jedi. And I know that's some of the reactors out and saying that he is the Jedi, the Grand Master Jedi now during that time, as he is training younglings or anyone with force sensitive powers for the Jedi Academy, and and that when he sees Baby Grogu, and we all know that he's there to take him away for training, because as young as he is, for 50 years old, he needs to be trained for the to control his powers. And it was a very heartfelt, heartwarming, a sad, bittersweet, but special moment between Mando and Baby Yoda, Grogu, as they said their goodbyes, and I was tearing up, and all of the fandom basically cried their eyes out, especially when Mando took off his helmet just for him, and I'm just getting emotional just thinking about it, and just looking into one another's eyes, and I just had that moment where it's like it's just like Luke and Vader moment where Vader asked his son to take off his helmet to look with his own eyes, and then in a way Grogu wanted to do the same thing, and his father obliged, and he took off the helmet. Baby Grogu touched his father's cheek, and it was the most heartwarming, like I said, heartwarming moment. That if you didn't cry or shed tears, you have no soul or heart, because it was deeply touching, where they had to say goodbye to one another, but it's not really goodbye in the Star Wars universe, and it um, it was just awesome all around, because he's going to be trained in the Jedi Academy. Now it comes full circle if you think about it. As we all know, it was Yoda who trained Luke in Empire Strikes Back, and now in The Mandalorian, it's Luke, the Grand Jedi Master, training Baby Yoda. So it makes you it's fan service that it's what we all wanted. And with Grogu gone, being trained at the academy, he'll be growing up, and hopefully not grow up like in how they did with Anakin and from Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones, where he shot up in height and age. Well, shot up in height and like that, but and since he's training with Luke, he will eventually talk, and just imagine his first words. If we ever see that hopeful meeting between Mando and Grogu once again, and imagine the first words Grogu speaks to Mando, and I hope, and it'll just melt the hearts of the fandom everywhere, to the point of crying tears, of Grogu just uttering one word, "Daddy," or "Father," or whatever. As long as he speaks words that somewhat relate to him saying "Father," or that's my dad, or like "I know you," and it makes me smile just thinking about the reunion, a long-awaited reunion, depending how long it'll be, between him and between Mando and Grogu, once they finally meet back up. Hopefully it won't be too long. And anyways, let's say not 30 years from now, but let's say 5 years from now. But who knows what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will do? But I'm sure it's in good hands with those two. They're God amongst men for the Star Wars universe, and we bow to you guys, because you saved the Star Wars franchise in our opinions, and hopefully And speaking of that, this segues into what will happen now with the movies 7, 8, and 9. Will they be totally erased now, or will it just be go from 7 and 8 and 9 are erased? That's the big question there. With will they just do the entire sequel trilogy over, or will just have just 7 and then 8 and 9 erased? That's so many questions right there. And what do you think? Will it go from? Will they erase 7, 8, and 9, or will they have just have 7 and then they redo 8 and 9, but not they just leave 8 and 9 in the so-called throw it in the river of unwanted movies. And I know people rag on 8 and 9. I sort of excuse me, I sort of liked 8 and 9, but I understand that how Luke was portrayed as a grumpy old man who just fled and a coward of sorts, maybe. But with how Luke was portrayed in The Mandalorian, his surprise appearance, and how he was in his prime, a Grand Jedi Master, and just force choking that Dark Warrior, that android, the Dark Trooper, if you will. My bad on that. Was just prime Luke Skywalker, and it made the kid in me very happy, and I was jumping up and down, and it just makes any Star Wars fan feel good when you know that two guys, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, know what they're doing and should take control of the Star Wars franchise from here on in. And I'm looking forward to what's going to be coming out in 2021 with Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett coming out in 2021 in December, along with with the Kenobi series. And if that doesn't start off with two words "hello" there, I'll be very disappointed. And then the Ahsoka movie, I mean not Ahsoka movie, the Ahsoka series, also Rogue Squadron, Cassian Endor series, and there's a whole list of things that I'm looking forward to that I'm looking forward to react to, and like I and that's all I've got written down on my notes, and yeah, like for many of us, it's a dream come true. For those of us who have been growing up and who are in our 40s or 50s, and it feels good for us now that we have something to look forward to with when 2020 being what it is, and we had a big giant bright spot, a giant Christmas present for us Star Wars fans, and yeah, there you go. And before I end, do me a favor, give a like if you enjoyed or like what you hear today, and also do me a favor, hit subscribe and become a part of the Inner Sanctum as the Guru Gang, part of the Guru Gang, peeps and Padawans. All right, guys, may the force be with you guys. Later.